The first person that determines price is the client. So today I'd like to have the conversation of cost. Now, price is a main driving component for any client, and it should be. Ultimately, everyone has a budget in mind. But I'd like to talk a little bit about how all the pieces come together to get to the final product that's being produced. So many times when we're having a conversation, it mostly revolves around square foot. And while this is obviously a metric that's shared like on national statistics, national surveys, and it's specifically going to come up when you do a Google search, which everyone's going to do if they're looking to build a custom home. Now, the real question is, what does this price entail? Meaning, what does it include? Is it the square footage of the home construction? Is it the square footage of the livable space, or the overall square footage of the construction as a whole? Is it under roof square footage on a single family residence? But then you even move into the other pieces of the component. Does it cover landscape spaces, pools, spas, exterior features, which inherently have nothing to do with the actual square foot of construction of the home? Does the square footage price include things like the overall design, meaning the fees for the architect, the pre-construction fees for the builder, the design fees for the interior design team, the landscape architecture that involved, all the engineering fees? One thing that most people will come to realize is that this square footage cost doesn't include the land of which being purchased. And a lot of these articles that I've been reading on Google as I've been researching this topic, there's very few that actually indicate what makes up these square foot prices that are discussed. And that's what I'd like to cover today. You know, ultimately, a lot of people think that it's the contractor that's specifically building for a certain square foot price. But the reality is, as a contractor in the luxury home space here in Phoenix, there was actually nothing that illustrated the actual cost associated with the overall project, not just focused on the construction of the home. One of the things that I always tell our clients is the first person that determines price is the client. Now, this might sound a little backwards, but ultimately the client is the one that's producing the conceptuals of what it is that they're trying to build. And in the day and age of social media, a lot of times we run into the issues where we're reading, magazines such as Dwell or Architectural Digest. We're, looking at Pinterest, we're looking at Instagram, we're looking at a lot of these beautiful spaces. And those are the things that we want to seek after, but a lot of times we don't understand at all what those might cost. And so if a client is giving their architect pictures and concepts that are in multi-million-dollar homes, but they're trying to stay under $1 million budget, they're immediately going to be in trouble because they're setting a precedent for the architect to build this amazing and beautiful space that's totally customized to their specific needs. But they're giving them examples of homes that are already well outside the budget that they had anticipated spending with the home. So that's one of the tips that we have for our clients, is to be able to harness in and have a realistic picture of, if they're trying to build $1 million home, give examples of $1 million homes that are being built to the architect and design team. So that brings us to the second person that determines price of the home. The second and very critical component of the overall process of building a home is the design. And the architect is able to not only help with the functionality of how the spaces fit together, but also the form of the home, various selections when it comes to exterior materials that are used, whether that be masonry facades, stucco facades. They could use a hardy trim. They could be going for major energy efficiency with some of the mechanical sets, which might drive cost up associated to what the client's intent is for the home build. And so those are other things that you need to keep in mind. But the main thing is, the architect, typically a true architect, is trying to build a home that is beautiful and that gives the client what it is that they want. And so they're not solely focused on the driving factor of cost associated with the project. And one of the main reasons for this is because the architect's not responsible for actually building the home. Now, there's nothing wrong with this. I mean, obviously architects are in place and they go through schooling to be able to help with creating the overall scope that the client wants. But what ends up happening oftentimes is that a lot of times that budget is kind of thrown to the side as they try to encompass everything that client wants for their dream home. They're working off conceptuals. There's no real pricing that's derived from these set of plans. In fact, it's not until you have a set of plans that you can even come up with what that price for that home is actually going to be. Ultimately, the interior design is going to be responsible for picking out the fixtures, the finishes, what appliance package that you're going to be going with, how many custom features are integrated throughout the home. Are they designing to a box cabinet set, or are they designing a true custom cabinetry package? Ultimately, what are they putting in the home in addition to what the architect has created? Now, this comes into, a huge price discrepancy. What are they picking for countertop material? Are they picking slabs that are $10,000 a slab? Or are they picking slabs that are $1,000 a slab? Ultimately, as they go through their selections, are they picking Delta fixtures for all their plumbing, or are they doing waterworks, which it can ultimately increase the overall budget of the project drastically. One of the big additional pieces that often isn't discussed is appliances. Appliances can vary pretty significantly between a standard appliance set with like a 36-inch standard fridge versus a 48-inch or 60-inch built-in fridge, whether you're going with, let's say, a GE profile package, or if you're going with a Wolf and Sub-Zero package. All these things can illustrate massive swings in the overall budget that's being created once it finally gets to a builder. So now the fourth item is going to be your landscape architect, and this can vary greatly. More recently, I've discussed with a lot of different clients, hey, a basic exterior package, is probably going to be, $60,000 for hardscape and landscape minimum. That doesn't include pool, hot tub, and additional features that make that outdoor space widely loved during the great months that we have to enjoy the outdoor weather here in Arizona. And so it can move upwards of $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 depending on how extensive is your pool, how much smart home capacity do you want in the exterior features of your home, how complex is your outdoor kitchen? Is your outdoor kitchen consist of a simple standalone barbecue, or do you want other features out there such as plumbing, refrigeration, beverage fridges? Do you want fire pits? In a lot of our homes we integrate fire pits because of the nostalgia they bring, and also for the benefit that they have during the few chilly months that we do have here in Phoenix. Are we dealing with retaining walls? How much hardscaping are we planning on doing? Are we terracing the property down? Are there stairs outside that get us to the various locations that we want to use for entertaining in our outdoor spaces? So there's a large swing. Once again, any of the exterior features actually have nothing to do with the overall square footage of the livable space within the home. I mean, you could be living on a small postage stamp lot in Arcadia Light at 6,000 square feet, or you could live in Paradise Valley on a 5-acre estate property. And obviously the swings in the overall cost of the landscape package, the hardscape package, and the exterior features, and how you're able to make those all coexist with the home can have drastic swings. And so what I'm getting at is that the main area in which cost is derived from is in the design. Yet the person that typically is coming up with those costs and with those budgets are going to be the contractor. And that's why I find that it is so important to have that contractor in early within the project. It allows them to be able to help with value engineering decisions that could help to shave literally tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars off your project from selecting the proper window packages, understanding what appliance packages are within the budget, and really helping with a lot of that project management that allows you to be able to get from a design set to an actual construction set that you can be able to actually price. And so bottom line, when I'm having conversations with people and the first question that comes up within a 10-minute phone conversation is, what do you build per square foot? There's so many variables that go into the answer of that make it very difficult to be able to encapsulate everything that goes into the custom home. And one of the last things that I'll leave you with is that usually when all things being considered and you have a full design set, when you're going to price things out and there's a wide discrepancy from, let's say someone says they could build at $1 million and someone else gives you a quote at maybe upwards of $2 million, the big thing is what's not included within that $1 million bid? What's not included within their budget sheet? Are they not including any landscape or exterior features? Are they building a cheaper, less quality product? Because when you compare apples to apples, the reality is that most of us are really just focused on the shift in the quality trade partners that we're working with and the overall service that we can provide to the client. And it's because of these things that I feel like really when you're getting pricing comparisons from builders, it's really, are you using a lesser quality builder that's including less stuff, or are you using a higher quality builder that's really fully encapsulating everything that you're trying to achieve in your amazing custom home project that you've spent literally years coming to fruition on? Now, I know that there are people that might differ in opinions on this piece, but the big thing that I want to get is that the number one driver of price is the design. And if the builder can't be involved with that process up front, it's going to be very hard for you to be able to achieve the end budget that you desire. So if you'd like to talk to us about our pre-construction services agreement and how we help with a lot of the project management pieces of design, filling some of the gaps and providing some additional information that will be absolutely critical to building your custom home, reach out to us today to find out more information. We appreciate you following along, and we hope that you have a great day.